Select statements, one of the most important part of ABAP programming. Here we are going to look at three types of selects in three performs. One would be simple select statement, one we will use a join, and one you will use a construct which is called for all entries, which is only typical to ABAP only. So let's see. Let's delve straight into the code. In this, for the simple select, we'll use the table we created before, YSP transparent table. Here we have only one primary key, and we also have the MNDT, but MNDT, as we know, is hidden from us because it's used for client dependent and client dependent separation. So only one primary key. We have, so looking at the data, we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 rows. So you go back to our code, we will put a breakpoint in each of these. Okay, we run. So okay, we'll not put any this is for first name, not put anything here, that's fine. So first we go to simple select 5. First one is select star from the table. So select everything from the table into corresponding field of the internal table. And the where condition says this is from the selection screen. First, let's see what we entered nothing in the selection screen. So this SF name from the selection screen is empty. That means in select statements, when where condition, this is empty, and using in, and this is empty, it can have two things. We can guess two things. One is nothing will be selected because we left it empty, but that's not going to happen. SAP will select everything. So if you leave this anything after the in operator empty, don't specify anything here, it's going to give you everything. And also, let's see what GT data is. Okay, it's a table. It has only first name and last name. As we saw, our table actually has first name, last name, primary key, and age. But you're not going to select them. We're going to select only first name and last name. So let's look at the table again, just to be sure. So here, if you go here, a table, YSB transparent table as primary key, first name, last name, and age. But in our global table, GT data, which is a type G2Y transparent table, we've defined the type here. We have only defined first name and last name. Pretty simple. So go back to debugger, and we see here, where is the debugger? Okay, so go to standard. Let's do F6. See, all 6 will be selected. 6 values will be selected. Here, if you double click, this is a table. If you click here, this shows all the values. We have 6 values. We didn't select the age, we didn't select the primary key. We only select the first name and last name. That's what happens here. First name and last name, all 6. But don't get confused. This is row. This is not a field of the table, not a component of the table. SAP just gives the row 1 2 3 4 5 6. Primary key also happens to be same as a row. So don't get confused between these two. Any table, any internal table, this will have a row. Anyway, so what's happening here is it says select everything, primary key, first name, last name, age, into corresponding fields of table. That means GT data only has first name and last name, so the rest two will not be selected. The correspondence will be maintained. Here we're being a little more specific, saying select only first name and last name into the table. This is actually a millisecond faster. When you in the next video, in the performance tuning video, you'll see this statement is 1 millisecond faster. So all the hard work we do saying matching, says GT data has only first name and last name, so we will write only first name and last name here to save 1 millisecond. Not worth it. A lot of people will say don't use select star, specify all the fields one by one. But what for? To save 1 millisecond? So it's up to you. So again, we got exact same result. After this select, keep an eye on size subbarc, it has to be 0. In the next one, we're going to select only one row. So look at the syntax. Into corresponding fields of table. But here into corresponding fields of GS data. This GS data is not a table. GS data is a structure, as we know, a work area or a structure. GS, global structure, global work area. So GT data is a table, GS data is a work area. So since you're selecting only one line, that's why you're using a work area. And also, if you're selecting only one row, the most efficient way of doing it is to specify the full primary key. If there's one primary key, give the primary key. If it's a composite primary key composed of 3, 4, 5, any number of fields, you give values for all those fields. Because from basic database theory and basic common sense, a primary key uniquely specifies a row. So if you specify all primary keys, you'll get only one and only one row. In our case, there's only one primary key, and it's also called primary key. So we've specified one. So going back to the table, I should open another window. Primary key 1. It's only one primary key. So as you can guess really easily, this line will be selected. So we go F6, size subbarc 0, that means it's succeeded. Let's look at GS data. GS data, oh yeah, we guessed right. Only this one got selected. Anyway, so this is the simplest case. This is nothing complicated. Select what you want to select, or you can do star, you can do single, you know, do table or the work area, and you have to specify the where clause. Nothing, very simple, like any other PL SQL, which is from Oracle, Microsoft SQL, or Open MySQL, which is open source. Same thing. Here comes this perform 3 table inner join. That's where things get a little complicated. I'll not tell you what is. I'll actually really short if you forgot. Inner join is like intersection between two sets. Outer join is kind of like union. Strengthen your fundamentals on join if you do not know the difference between inner join and left outer join. And this is a good occasion to say that SAP supports only inner join and left outer join. Two kinds of join. So here is showing join between 3 tables. Table 1 called scar, table 2 spfli, and table 2 sflight. 1, 2, and 3. The order doesn't really matter, because say before you execute anything, the database optimizer will implement an algorithm called split, sort, merge. That's how inner joins are executed in the database server. In our case, it's an Oracle database server. Also, you have these join conditions. It must be of same type and length. So the meaning of this is, if you can ignore the third table, just consider 2-table join. Select everything from scar table. Select these career name, car name from scar, and con ID from spfli. But select consider only those lines where career IDs are same in both tables. So if there's a line in scar which has career ID, but there's no career ID, same career ID in spfli, nothing will be selected for that line. This line in scar will get discarded. Say yeah, if it was left outer join, the scar field will be selected, and the spfli field here will remain empty. Scar will get selected. This will remain empty. Now let's again, you add another one, sflight. You put conditions, sflight, spflight, conditions, and then comes the where clause. Remember, in the where clause, we got New York and San Francisco from our selection screen right here. So that p underscore is always parameter. That's why it's good to follow naming conventions. Then you know where this value came from. P is parameter, s underscore is select options. So now we immediately knew it came from the selection screen. So this is the where condition. City from and city to is a field in spfli, and that has to follow these rules. It has to come from these. Put a little select state. So it goes to a special table called GT joined. GT joined, as you can guess, has 3 fields: career name, con ID, and FL date. And it's called join because each one comes from different table. So it's like a combination. FL date came from one table, career name came from one table, con ID came from the third table. And you got all joined together. If one table doesn't have has a career ID for a row and there's no corresponding career ID in spfli, nothing will be selected. Both lines will be discarded in both tables in our result set, because remember, it is an intersection. Intersection selects commonality, common elements in different sets. Anyway, that was simple. This is a simple join. Now, sometimes, not in this case, sometimes, however, you cannot perform the join. One common example, like the only most common reason of why you cannot perform the join is when the fields don't match. Again, let's look at the let's look at here, this join. Here we're joining sFlight and SPFLI. These fields must be equal, but as you see, must be same type and length. If it's character 12, it both should be character with length 12. Sometimes it's not the case. Once you define the table is being used thousands of times. You cannot change it anymore. You define one as character 11, define one as character 12. They'll still work. Maybe your field is only 5 characters long. It's going to fit in, but it's not going to serve your purpose. In these cases, you'll have to copy one content of one table into an internal table, fix the length in the internal table, and kind of run a loop instead of doing a join to a loop. But don't really run a loop because loops are extremely bad. You're going to use a special syntax called for all entries. Here, F6, F5. Again, exactly. We, as you said, suppose we cannot perform this join, sFlight and SPFLI. This join is not going to happen. So we're going to get all the SPFLI into an internal table called GTSPFLI, which is exactly the same as SPFLI. In this case, we didn't have to do any length adjustments. That's fine. And also the city to and city from, we use it here. So we will get 2 values here. City to, so apparently from New York to San Francisco, there's only 2 flights, American Airlines and Delta Airlines. That's fine. Go back here. Now, here's the important thing. From our 3-table join, we removed SPFLI. Instead of that, we used the internal table representation of SPFLI and use for all entries. It's like as if we're running a loop on this table and then doing this join one by one. Other than that, you'll see syntax is very similar. Instead of here using the table directly, here using an internal table representation. One disadvantage of this is, however, here, where since this is a hybrid of database operations, because as we know, joins purely happen in a database, and we bring in, instead of a database table, you bring in an internal table, we cannot write like this. This is a syntax error. So from the join, we only got 2 fields. We could not get SPFLI con ID because we don't have that table in the join. So you run it, F6, and we'll see. GT joined 1. GT join. Remember, in the straightforward join, we had GT joined here. So in this case, we have GT joined 1. Exact same number of rows, 28, 28. But only difference is, in our straightforward join, we have the connection ID, con ID. In this case, we don't have a con ID. Go back here, double click on the new case, con ID is all 0. Then you'll have to loop through again and do some loop through again and fill this again. So it's a little complicated when you use for all entries, and you cannot use straightforward join. You have to run another loop to fill it. But loops are always faster than database operations. So it's kind of okay. If you have no choice, cannot do a join What can you do? So this is it.